Europe, and good afternoon to everyone in China. Welcome again to today's EU SME Center webinar series. It's a pleasure to see again that every week the number of users to logging into the panel is increasing. So we're quite enthusiastic about the development of the series, and are making sure that every week we can come back with new topics to help you to develop your business in China. Again, as a quick reminder to everyone, you're in front of the webinar panel. On the left-hand side, you have a hand, so if you can just raise your hand by clicking on the icon, just for us to actually verify that you can all hear us. Today, actually, our speaker and us are sitting in different places in Europe and China, so it's actually good to make sure that everyone can hear us properly. So I can see that that most of the hands are being raised. So other functions that you have on the webinar include also the Q&A panel, as you can see now on your screen. Don't hesitate to submit any questions that you will have during the webinar on this particular topic or any other topics that you may wish to cover. And alternatively, of course, at a later stage, you can always contact us by actually logging into the website platform, eusmecenter.org.cn, and raising your question directly there through our Ask the Experts function. So a quick summary again about the EU SME Center, although I see that a lot of people are coming back from one webinar to another. You know us quite well already. The EU SME Center is an initiative financed by the European Union to support the European SMEs to establish and develop commercial activities in China. We offer first line free and confidential information and advice for companies which have questions such as the standards, whether there is a market for your product, which standards apply, whether there is an opportunity in your particular sector, what are the prospects now in view of the People's Congress and the 12 five-year plans, etc. What are the specific labor costs and taxes? How do I set up a rep office, which we'll talk about next week, in fact. And in order to do so, we have a number of services and tools to help businesses. First, through our knowledge center, we have publications in the form of guidelines, reports, but also very importantly case studies that can help you to gain from the experience of others. We also have a number of other services here directly in Beijing in terms of hot desking and using our facilities here. And finally, very importantly, we organize regular training, seminars, and other events such as today's webinar. Today we'll cover a topic which is particularly interesting for quite a number of European SMEs, which is really on how to cash in on the ever-increasing demand for high-quality foods in the PRC in China. And we've seen that there is quite a bit of interest in the area of food and beverage, and specifically in this particular subsector. For this, today we have invited an expert from Europe. We have with us Dr. Sarah Medina, which I would like to welcome. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Good afternoon to Benoit.
And Sarah, if you could maybe, as you're starting your intervention and sharing your experience, if you could also then tell us a little bit about your profile and who you are.
Hello, good morning everyone in Europe. So I'm actually calling you and being here in the webinar directly from Portugal. And so my background, so I'm Portuguese. I have been working with China since 2004, and I have been helping European companies to go to the China market, and also working together with the SME Center. My previous background, I have a degree in food engineering, and I did my master's in food studies, studying in different countries in Europe. and then a PhD in agro food economics based in the US in the University of Florida. I went to China the first time in 2004, and I have to say I was fascinated by the different environment and how quick things were developing, and then I started from there working with China. My main activity is working for SPI. It's an international consultancy company, and we have also a presence in China since '99. Then I have been working with the EU SMEs Center in providing seminars in different countries in Europe, including Latvia, Italy, and Spain recently, last week in Girona.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I think maybe on that we can just start with the overview of what the subjects and the topics that you will cover today.
Okay, sure. Is my screen appearing?
Yes, absolutely. We can see the context.
Okay, so going through the different topics for today's webinar, we'll start with a description of organic products in Europe, then passing to what's the situation of organic and natural products in China, with a market overview, with the customers and the distribution, how to get certification. So we'll go through these different items. We have slides and information, detailed information about each of the topics. Then we'll pass to what are the current challenges, opportunities, and marketing strategies for EU SMEs. And finally, we'll provide some case studies, like successful examples of European companies that were already able to approach and to be successful in the China market, how they did it. What are some events going on now in the near future, and useful links with further information for all of you.
It looks like quite some content, Sarah. What I want to do, as usual, as we start our webinar, is just to gauge our audience. So I'm just going to launch with this, our first poll, and I think the poll should be appearing on your screens now. You have the first question. So what type of organic products are you considering to place on the Chinese market? And you have 4 different options there: organic grain, organic fruits and vegetables, C, organic processed foods, or D, organic food supplements. I see that the answers are gradually coming in. Maybe a few more seconds just to get some answers. Okay, I see most of you have now voted. So with this, I'm just closing and sharing the results with you. So as you can see, Sarah, actually 87% of the participants which have voted, and that was quite a high number, are actually thinking most of organic processed foods. So this is actually quite useful for us to know for the context of this presentation. Is this something which is surprising you, or is this something which really is the trend that you're seeing for European companies exporting on the Chinese market?
No, I think the results seem very interesting, because processed food is actually one of the big trends of the type of products from Europe, organic, that are now more interested in approaching the China market. So that's really in line with the current situation, and also with concrete opportunities for this specific type of organic products.
Well, and hopefully then during the presentation we see whether the opportunities are also existing in the other sectors. But with this, I'm just hiding the polls, and I'll let you to continue with your slides, Sarah.
Thank you, Benoit. So starting with the organic products in Europe. So we'll start in terms of what are the different organic farming practices. And they basically include different types of items that need to be considered, including the wide crop rotation as a prerequisite for an efficient use of on-site resources, very strict limits on the different chemical, synthetic pesticide and synthetic fertilizer use, absolute prohibition of the use of genetically modified organisms, choosing plant and animal species that are resistant to disease and also adapted to different local conditions, using animal husbandry practices that are appropriate to different livestock species. So that these are some of the practices that are included in organic farming from the European point of view. Then what are the different requirements of this organic farming? We are still concentrated on the situation in Europe. Like farmers, now talking about the processing sector, it also must follow different legal requirements if the products are to be carrying the different organic logos and labeling of the European Union or from the different EU member states. So we have in Europe different member states, and each country can also have specific rules regarding these logos and labeling, but overall everyone needs to follow the rules from the EU point of view. In the EU organic farming regulation, there are different items that need to be considered. The production of goods mainly from ingredients of organic agricultural origin, using only non-organic agricultural ingredients that are authorized by the Commission or by the different EU member states, the use of a very limited number of additives or processing aids that are authorized but under certain conditions by the European Commission, the prohibition of artificial flavors and different types of colorants, and the ensurement of organic and non-organic food ingredients that are stored, handled, and processed separately at different times. So these are the requirements of organic farming in Europe.
So, Sarah, just a quick question on that. If you're, I mean, if I'm an SME producing organic foods and I comply with the requirements in the EU and can apply, for, well, can use these labels, how far I am of actually being able to put my products on the Chinese market, and if not, is there anything, any trends which are ongoing?
So thank you for the question, Benoit. That's a very good question. Actually, although the products can be certified from the European point of view, that doesn't imply that they will be able to be sold in China. And we'll see later on under this presentation that to sell organic products legally in China, all products, whether domestically or internationally produced, they are required to obtain the Chinese organic certification. So this is really a requirement for the products from Europe to be able to be sold in the China market. Continuing in terms of logo and labeling, basically the EU organic logo and those of the EU member states, they are used to supplement the labeling and also to increase the visibility of the different organic food and drink, different types of drinks for the consumers. The consumers buying products that are bearing the EU logo, they can be confident that at least 95% of the products, the ingredients of the agricultural origin have been organically produced. The product has come from the producer in a sealed package. The product bears the name of the producer or the vendor and the name or code of the inspection body, and the product also complies with the rules of the official inspection scheme. This still from the EU point of view. Regarding now starting to make the bridge with the situation and China and the dialogues between the European Commission and the China government in terms of making it easier for the EU products to approach the China market. There is basically the EU and China roadmap towards a mutual recognition of organic products. And in 2012, the European Commissioner for Agriculture and Rural Development, and also the Chinese Minister for Administration of Quality, Supervision and Inspection and Quarantine. This is an organization, a main body in China dealing with these issues. They have agreed in Beijing to open negotiations on a mutual recognition agreement in the field of organic food products. So here basically the discussions started in trying to reach a mutual agreement. On the basis of the roadmap, basically this dialogue started at a technical level with different types of objectives. To promote a mutual understanding of the trust and bilateral cooperation in the field of organic agriculture. To work towards a mutually beneficial reciprocal arrangement on the recognition of each other's organic laws and regulations. To hold technical discussions for agreeing the necessary steps that are needed to achieve the aim of a mutual recognition in the organic field, and finally to establish regular contacts and communication concerning the respective legislation, procedures, technical standards in the field of organic agriculture. So this is basically the start of concrete measures to make it easier for the European organic products to be sold in the China market. Passing now to the part number 2 of this webinar of today on organic and natural products in China. We are going to be covering different topics, including the market overview, the customers and how they are able to handle the distribution, and also how it's possible to get the certification, how long it takes, and what's really the procedure for a product from Europe to get the China certification. First of all, China is a huge market, and whenever we talk about China, we always think first on the big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and then in the south, Guangzhou. But in terms of China, we should also consider, and with very open eyes, second-tier cities and third-tier cities, because these type of cities are developing very quick in China and are also have a huge population. So we have cities like Tianjin, that's now it takes half an hour from Beijing by train, and Tianjin has about 13 million people. So there is a fast train that takes half an hour, and by car it takes about 2 hours and a half. Then close to Shanghai we have cities like Wuxi. Also now with the fast train it takes about 40 minutes. We have cities like Nanjing, also very close now by train. Cities like Hangzhou, Suzhou. So we have cities with a very high number of type of consumers that can be approached. And these cities also have another type of incentive, because the local government really is looking for European companies to establish themselves there. So there are specific tax incentives, and also in terms of using kind of a space in business incubators that can sometimes get also very low rents in terms of starting an office in these cities. And at the same time, these consumers living in these cities are less familiar with the European products, and it can be also an advantage because there is less offer there, although the big cities can be already more saturated and less willing to receive your products. products. So my advice is to look at the second and the third tier cities when you look at China. And here in this slide you can see also the population of the different cities. Regarding now on the market overview still, food safety in China. We all know that food safety can be a problem in China. And from 2003, food safety scares, they became more frequent. And China has seen scandals over different types of foods, including rice, noodles, illegal additives, and also risks in the processing industry that became the focus of big concerns. Consumers, they became obsessed with certain types of food. In 2008, we all are aware that it happened the melanine milk scandal, in which at least different 6 babies died, and also others were hospitalized after drinking this powdered milk. And over the past 10 years, the challenge posed to the food sector by China's industrialization has become clear, and society has been paying a high price. And this, at the same time, is an advantage for all of you in terms of making China a more appealing market in terms of receiving European products that are safe and that have high quality. Continuing with the market overview, in China, organic products are mainly indicating organic foods. So when we talk about organic products, we are mainly referring to organic foods. Although there are also cosmetics and pharmaceuticals, which are made of organic materials in the market, but they are still in the categories of cosmetics or pharmaceuticals. Products that have a label of organic are very welcome and also are more expensive in comparison with the normal products. So if you have the label organic, then they will be, you can sell them as more expensive products in comparison with normal ones in China. The term natural products, however, is not always equal to organic products. We are going to see this in the next slide. But here we are going to be talking mainly about organic products. In terms of related industries, we have the processed food industry, cosmetics, and also pharmaceuticals. So seeing now in terms of definition and the distinction between organic products and natural products. Organic products are made from organic raw materials, and the organic certifications are usually required. And China has set a clear definition of organic products in the national standard, and there is a specific standard number, that's this number here. In terms of natural products, it's difficult to define a product as natural. And in general, the term is used when the food does not contain any type of artificial flavoring, colors, chemical preservatives, or synthetic ingredients. This is the USDA definition of natural products. In terms of categories of Chinese organic products, so we have different types of categories going from grain to vegetable oil, fruits, tea, textile, livestock, processed foods, and within each category we have different types of products. So this is on Chinese organic products. So for instance, on processed foods, that we saw that we have a lot of companies, participants that are willing to sell organic processed food in the China market. We have frozen vegetables, dried fruits, canned vegetables, and fruits. If we look at beans, we have mung bean, kidney bean. So here you can basically have all the information on the different products within each category. Still on market overview. Now from the exporting point of view. Organic products, so for instance wines, chocolates, oatmeal, sugar and dairy products. And imported organic snacks, candies, beverages, instant noodles, condiments, produce and personal care products. In terms of countries and regions, usually the products that are sold in China, they come from the US, from Australia, from UK, Germany, Taiwan, and also other countries, but these are the main ones. The organic products being sold in China are commonly sold alongside official domestic Chinese organic foods. However, many of these products that have the foreign organic labeling do not carry the Chinese organic logo, even though it is required by the Chinese law. So it's a requirement by the Chinese law that the product has to carry the Chinese organic logo. In order to gain a market advantage, countries like Korea and Germany and the respective producers of baby organic formulas, they have applied for Chinese organic certification, as it is able to enable them to promote and also sell their products legal. So this is very important to consider, that you are able to get the China certification to be legal in the China market. And we'll see in the next slides how you are able to get the certification and who are the main bodies responsible for this. Still on market overview, just some figures in terms of market size. It's not so easy to have concrete figures of the actual situation of organic products in China. So all this is still very new in China, and there is contradictory information from different sources. There is basically currently no clear and comprehensive statistics on the volume and value of organic production in China. Just some figures so that you have some general indication. In 2010, we had about 2.4 million hectares of certified organic farmland, and the sales value of organic agricultural products was about 14.5 billion RMBs. That's about 215 billion US dollars. In terms of euros, it's about 1.8 billion euros. This was in 2010. And there is also an expectation of about 6.5 billion euros in domestic market, indicating an over 28% year-over-year growth of the sales value of organic agricultural products between 2011 and 2015. These are just some very indicative data, because as I mentioned, it's not easy to find accurate information on this regard still in China. Still on the market overview, some key growth drivers. We have, in terms of modern organic agriculture, EU SMEs, they may obtain business opportunities when integrating into the Chinese organic value chain. There is an increase in income and improve also of life standards of people, and people they get each time more concerned about food safety and health issues. So here, as I previously mentioned, is important, apart from the first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, to look at second and third-tier cities as a market opportunity. Also, the Chinese, due to the one-child policy, they are always very concerned on and worried on giving all the best for their children. So they are willing to pay more for high quality products and products that are safe and for sure secure to give the best to their children. And health is also a huge concern in China, and the Chinese, they worry very much in being very, very healthy. There is also the boom of online shopping. The Chinese, they like very much to buy online, and this is also a trend and at the same time an opportunity in China.
That seems like quite some prospects, but actually I'd like to gauge the audience, Sarah, to see how much, well, what they believe the size of total purchases of organic food account for on the Chinese market. So you've got the second poll, which is appearing on your screens just now. The four options are A, less than 10%, or actually it should be more than 10%. So please just take it as more than 10%, 5 to 10%, 1 to 5%, or less than 1%. There is a typo there. I see that the numbers are gradually coming in. And I see. Okay, I'm giving you another few seconds to provide your votes. I think that anyways the votes are going the right direction, so I'm closing and sharing the result just now. Actually, there is almost an even, well, there is quite an even spread. Not really one of the answers which comes specifically out, Sarah, but the one of less than 1%, which it should be, and not more than 1%. I think that's pretty accurate, and that's what you were talking about. But we are certainly not yet at more than 10%, far from that. And I mean, with the numbers and the consumption behaviors that we've talked about earlier, there is probably quite a bit of possibilities of well, positive trends and lots of potential for our companies. But again, I'm hiding the polls, and I'll let you to comment on that on the basis of your other slides.
Thank you, Benoit. So this is actually a very accurate result. So basically, that's the true result. The overall organic market share in China is still small, and total purchases, they account for less than 1% of China's total food consumption. So congratulations on achieving the right result. However, consumers, they are becoming wealthier, as previously mentioned, and it is also expected that within the next 10 years, the organic consumption will grow in China and will reach figures between 30 to 50%. So this is very good news, I think, for all of you, all of us here in Europe, in trying to sell your products in China, because there will be concrete market opportunity for all of you. The China's food scandals, they have had a serious impact on the trust of the Chinese consumers in the domestic food safety, and some consumers, they prefer now to buy imported products, and they are willing to pay more, but to have at the same time the trust, and we all know that trust in China is essential. The Chinese, just when they trust someone, just when they trust a product, they are able to go forward with it. And when the trust is built, that really helps in any type of personal relationship and also any type of business deal. So it's very important in China, and probably some of you already selling in China market, others are still looking at the China market, but the trust is one thing that I have learned during these years working in China, this past already 9 years. And I still remember the first time I went to China in 2004. I went there for a meeting. I wanted automatically to start talking about how we can start collaboration, and people there, they said, stop, first we go for lunch, we have to get to know each other. And then we met a few times, and now we have an excellent relationship. So they invite as to go there and make presentations. We have an excellent collaboration with this is a specific science park in Beijing, in Zhongguancun. But it takes time, and you have to treat the Chinese very respectable and very, very well in order to be able to be successful in this market. Now focusing still on organic products, giving organic products as gifts is a trend in the short future, and we all know that the Chinese, they have special kind of festivities, like the New Year, the Chinese New Year, then the Spring Festival, October Festival. They have different festivities all during the year, and they like to treat the people from their families and the friends very well. And gifts are a way that they can show respect, and they can show caring for the people they love. And organic products, they can be sold as gifts. So this is also a high potential for your products in the China market. Passing now to customers and distribution. Who are the typical organic buyers? Usually they are between 28 and 50 years old, usually females. They work in offices, marital status, they are married, they have university education, and we have also different types of demographic groups.
Okay, Sarah, maybe here, because I think we're going to start talking about a bit the distribution channels, and I'll do this poll very quickly because we still have some ground to cover, but are running out of time. Quickly, to have your feedback on, before we start to talk about the distribution channel, which are the channels which you would consider really to distribute your products on the Chinese market. A, hypermarkets, B, high-end supermarkets and organic markets, so specialized ones. C, food and beverage chain stores, so normal ones. D, online stores with delivery services, or finally whether you would consider all the different channels. So I'm giving you a few more seconds to answer, and on this I'm closing and sharing the results. So you see that, Sarah, that actually a vast majority of the users and of the audience, 56% would actually have a preference in their strategy to go through high-end supermarkets and specialized organic markets. And maybe just as a second part, some of them which would actually try to go through all the different channels. So is that in line with your experience? Do you have any particular recommendations on that? And I think you're talking on that on your next slide, so I'm just hiding the result of the poll now.
Very good. So in China we have different types of distribution channels, and the high-end supermarkets and organic markets are for sure one of the possible distribution channels. But then we have others like hypermarkets, such as chains like Carrefour, that you can have this type of hypermarkets in big cities like Beijing, Shanghai. Then you have the food and beverage chain stores, and also the online stores that are becoming each time more trendy. You can find more information of the distribution in this EU SME Center Food and Beverage report, this link here. You can find detailed information on the different types of distribution channels in China. Passing now to certification. In order to sell, we already saw this, in order to sell the organic products that are legally in China, all products, they are required to obtain Chinese organic certification. And even the products with an international organic label, such as USDA, they must acquire a Chinese organic label. So this is really a requirement. And certification is available for field crops, livestock, aquaculture, honey, fungals, so for different types of organic products. And the Chinese organic certificate is valid for 1 year, and applicants must annually renew their certification. This diagram here basically shows the Chinese organic certification process from the moment you apply to document check, on-site inspection, inspection report, evaluation, so until you are able to issue the certificate and then maintain the certificate. So it's the cycle of Chinese organic certification process.
If I can just interrupt on this, Sarah, because I think that many of the listeners would actually have this question. What would typically be the length of this procedure, of going through this process from the application to actually having your certification issued? I mean, overall.
So this process doesn't take too long, so it takes in average about 30 days, but it can take longer for certain types of organic products. The exact time will depend on the organic product, but in average you have to count with at least 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Still on certification, you can find here a list of different types of organizations that deal with certification. So you can check the links here and get more information about this subject as well. Passing now to the third part of this webinar on challenges, opportunities, and marketing strategies for EU SMEs. Starting with the challenges, we have different types of challenges. We have consumption challenges, we have supply and distribution challenges. On consumption challenges, there is currently a lack of awareness of organic products. It's still a new topic, a new area in China. Also, many Chinese, they don't understand what organic means. So it's very important for the Chinese to become each time more familiar of what is organic and what are the benefits of organic products. Regarding supply and distribution, the organic industry still lacks a platform where producers, distributors, and organic companies are able to discuss supply contracts. Regarding challenges on certification, while all certifying bodies have earned government accreditation, there are still certain certifiers that have better reputation than others with respect to upholding the strict organic requirements when awarding producers organic certification. So it's important that you look at the right organization that can deal with these issues on a proper way. Regarding enforcement and labeling challenges, the organic standards are still poorly enforced, as there is still no clear authority that has been given to any one governmental body. And such an environment is failing to stop illegal activity. In order to cut costs, some producers, they purposely circumvent the annual renewal process, and they are continuing to use expired organic labels. So they need also to take this issue into consideration. Now regarding opportunities for different types of organic products. Regarding organic grain, we have the specialty rice and grain that are able to find niche markets in China. We have organic fruits and vegetables with the temperate fruits with special qualities that are able to penetrate the market, as the Chinese consumers, they like exotic or unusual foods. And we have organic processed food with the baby food, dairy products, and gourmet food. Again here, this is a trend because they value the best for their children. Then organic food supplements. The Chinese traditional belief in functional foods provides a strong basis for food supplements with pro and prebiotic products and also herbs of interest. Then regarding marketing strategies for EU SMEs. So we're going to check what's the situation regarding product, price, place, and promotion, the 4 P's. Regarding product, given that the Chinese consumers, they have serious concerns about the integrity of the organic products, and some may even doubt about the effectiveness of the organic certification from the China point of view, the exports, they should carry the seal of an internationally recognized certification body. So it's important to have the seal of the internationally recognized seal body here in Europe, and at the same time you apply for the China certification to sell in China. Regarding price, the Chinese consumers, they are generally price sensitive, and the prices, they should be competitive for mass products, but also they should be able to differentiate your product from the current normal product that is not organic. Regarding place, so we already saw the different types of distribution channels. So from hypermarkets to specialty stores, and we have also to take into consideration the online selling. The distributors, they are normally regional rather than at a national wide. So it's very important to find a good Chinese importer distributor. So to find the right Chinese partner in China is essential, and this takes time. So China is an investment, so you cannot expect that you go to China one time and you find right away the right importer distributor. It requires building trust, and you have to be able to visit different ones and build trust to the ones that are more willing to make business with you. Regarding promotion, you should focus on the organic integrity and product quality, especially if the product has unique nutritional or functional value. Attractive packaging is also a plus with exporting countries' characters. It doesn't need to be very luxurious, but should be clear and attractive.
I just have a quick question, Sarah, because there is one question which is coming in which I think is actually quite relevant to what you just talked about before promotion on the distribution. The question is from a traded intermediary in food and drinks, saying that they actually, the Chinese distributor that they are working with don't like to work with intermediaries, but specifically they want to work with the producers. Is this the experience that you've had also? I mean, how, if that is the case, what would be your recommendations, and what would be your recommendation in particular to this intermediary on protecting their interests and their negotiation and strategy together with Chinese distributors?
I think it depends on distributor. You can find some distributors that just want to work directly with producers. So I think it's here the answer. It really depends on the type of distributor. That's why it's important that you don't limit yourself to just one type of distributor. So you have to be able to meet different types and then see how they are willing to sell or not your product. But my answer is that although that one said no to you, that they just would like to work directly with producer, you should still look for other types of distributors.
So as you were saying, it's really a question of patience and of actually going through a few visits and finding the right partner instead of trying to, being discouraged from the first couple of exchanges.
Exactly. China is an investment, and you need to be very patient as well. So you cannot expect you go to China one time, you send some emails, and things happen. So first, emails, usually they don't get the emails, either because they go to spam box or they just don't look at the emails. So for you to expect, if you are selling, a response right away, just forget it. So you need to go to China in the beginning at least every 3 months. Every 3-4 months maximum you should be going to China and visit the same ones that are more promising. And from there start developing the relationship. And fairs are also a good way to find distributors, and we are going to see that here in the end of this webinar, although I think fairs need to be complemented with concrete visits to the right place of the distributor or the importer, because there you can meet them in a more quiet environment, really on their environment. In a fair, they deal with all types of people from Europe, from US, and from other countries, so you can get less attention to you in a fair than if you go to meet them face to face, just you and them.
Thank you.
Now, to finalize, and then I think we have time still for some questions, on some case studies, events, and useful links. Case studies. So basically, as I mentioned, there are already some companies that have been successful on selling organic products in China. And this Puka herbs from the UK is one example. Puka means being pure, first class, and the best. And the Puka's tea, so you can see this link, was created by an English herbal therapist. And Puka's tea products have already won gold medals for their taste at the Great Taste Awards. They are 100% organic, they are free of preservatives, fragrance, and aromas. And they are different from common Chinese tea products. So although the Chinese, they love tea, and they have a lot of tea products, this product was still able to differentiate itself. This is also another very important point. You need to find a way to differentiate your products from the ones that are already in China. So find a way to differentiate, either through packaging or through price or through something different that can differentiate your product. In this case, they are different from the common Chinese tea products, and they target high-end consumers to bring them to relax. Here we target really the health issue, the relaxation, the peacefulness, and also the balance of life that are really key for the China consumers. Another example is Ever Wines and the organic farm going online. And the local Chinese, this was a local Chinese company that was founded in 2000, specialized in manufacturing organic products. It offers domestically grown organic fruits and vegetables, as well as imported pre-packaged organic food from Europe and also from Asia. The company's fresh products are available in major supermarkets all over China, and both fresh products and imported products, they can be delivered. In 2005, it started a home delivery service that allows customers to order over email and also by phone. And in 2008, started an online portal for home delivery, and this is being very successful. Organic Farm first developed its business in Beijing and has already about 1,000 online customers, and has now extended to other cities in China. In Shanghai has also already 500 customers and is delivering also to restaurants, hotels in other cities like Guangzhou and Shenzhen, more close to Hong Kong. You can find detailed information on this case study. So all this information is also available in the EU SMEs Center portal that is extremely well done and very easy to navigate. And you can find also these specific case studies and others there in the website. Now just to conclude regarding some events, so it's important when you go to China that apart from meeting the partners, the distributors, the importers one by one, you can at the same time spend 1-2 days in visiting a fair. And there you can either play the role of a simple visitor, or you can also request to have a booth where you can expose your products. So you can have both options. And here you have some examples of events in China in the coming months between April, May, and July in cities like Beijing and Shanghai. Usually these events are still happening in the big cities. Useful links. to get more information about all these types of subjects, you can consult these links.
Thank you, Sarah. I mean, I think the links are very useful, and we've seen quite a few. And I'd like to reassure again the participants which were asking about whether we will share the presentation. We will. I think there was quite a bit to cover, but I'd like to still take a few minutes to try to address some questions because I think they are useful for the audience. But very quickly, because we actually have a limitation. There is one question which is referring to finding the right importer and distributor. I think you were talking about trade fairs as one of the right channels to find a distributor. Are there any other tips you would have there in particular for producers in Europe on finding partners to work with?
I think fairs are a good way to have the first contact, because if you choose the right fair, the most important ones are going to be there. So that's I think an excellent way to get the first contact. But then, as I mentioned, they get exposed to a lot of visitors. So then you need to be able to arrange meetings with them outside the fair and also visit them at their location. You can also contact, of course, your chambers of commerce from the different countries that they also have representation in Beijing, and you can also check, try to make some search from fairs in Europe that they have the list of the different participants, including also people from China. And you can also have some type of support from the EU SME Center on this regard.
Thank you, Sarah. I have maybe here another couple of questions which I think are useful for the other users. The first one is about labeling, and the question is specifically, and I think we've had it in past webinars, on whether the labeling has to be specifically in Chinese or whether the labeling in English is sufficient.
I think the labeling, you have to, it's important that you find the right Chinese name for your product. And I'm not exactly sure if you need to have the labeling right away in Chinese, but anyway, if you don't need to have it right away, you need to have it very quick already in Chinese. And there, it's very, very important that you get the right translation, because not just translation, it has to sound well. So it has to, I know the case of a Portuguese company that they are selling some type of food products in China, and they had to find the right way to sound. It has to sound proper in order to be attractive to the Chinese. But I think the answer is yes, that you need to have already the label also in Chinese, and you have to go through this certification process and contact the right entities to help you on this.
Yeah, and maybe here I'd like just to invite also the participants to actually refer to our guidelines on the topic. I think it's for the image, indeed, it's good to have also a trademark in Chinese, but for the labeling specifically, which will be useful for placing your product on the market, yes, this will be checked, and you have to comply with a number of labeling standards there. So Chinese will be at some point indeed essential, and actually with some specific requirements. So I'd like to invite you to have a look at the labeling requirements and the guidelines on that on our website. And maybe to take just a final, well, maybe a last two questions. Sarah, one is on the certification procedure. There is a person which is asking whether this is going through on-site inspections in Europe. My experience that it's not, but that it will actually be you to have to go through the inspections and the certification procedures of your product on the Chinese market with samples, and the best person to help you with that is your is your local partner. In fact, do you have any other aspects to add to that?
That's exactly as you mentioned. Your local partner is the perfect one to help you on this regard, and you also should get information from the right authorities as was presented, but you need to get it in China. Yes.
And then maybe the last questions for today, because I think we're already far beyond our time, but it's on online selling, I think, so that could be useful also. I think you've covered that to quite some extent in your presentation. The question is specifically on whether there is a strong market for online selling of organic foods on the Chinese market, and what would be the proportion really of that channel for distributing organic foods in China, whether this is what is the status and what are your prospects on that for the future?
Yeah, this is a new trend, and you can consult for these sites like www.tmall.com, www.360buy.com, www.yihaodian.com. So this is actually a new trend, and the Chinese, they love to buy online. So I would say this is a new trend, and definitely to keep this in mind for the future.
Okay, Sarah. Again, on this one, we've got quite a bit of material on online selling, which also covers sector-specific platforms. So don't hesitate to refer to that. But thank you very much, Sarah. I think we were trying to cover as many questions as possible. If we haven't managed to cover your question, don't hesitate to log into our platform and then refer your questions to us via the Ask the Expert function on the website. Sarah, I would like to thank you in particular for your time and for sharing your experience on the Chinese market with us today. You've got extensive experience on that, and I think that will be a valuable input for today's audience, which was quite large. So thanks again for your participation.
Thank you very much, Benoit. Thank you very much to all of you. It has been a great pleasure to collaborate.
And I'd like also to thank all of you for your participation to today's webinar. Again, I'd like to refer you to our website, eusmecenter.org.cn, for the different functions we have there, but all the services and tools that you can access on the online platform. Never hesitate to register and refer questions back to us through that platform. Next week we will be carrying on with the next editions of our webinar. Well, next week we'll actually look at how to open an office here in China without a Chinese partner. So looking at the setup of a wholly foreign-owned enterprise as well as a representative office and comparing the pros and cons. And there will be other webinars coming up in the next few months on a weekly basis. So thank you to everyone for joining today's webinar on organic foods on the Chinese market, and thank again also for answering the 2 or 3 minute survey that you'll be invited to just after this webinar. So thank you, Sarah, thank you everyone, and let's meet again soon on our platform or at the center. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, bye-bye.